You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amber TV, the voice of Amberzonia. Stay tuned. You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amber TV, the voice of Amberzonia. Stay tuned. You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amber TV, the voice of Amberzonia. Stay tuned. You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amber TV, the voice of Amberzonia.
The Amber World Draft Award 22 is here. People, it's time to win again.
This is the time for us to draft until we draft. That must be our slogan and rallying cry now. And along the way, we should be asking ourselves some critical questions.
Are we still enjoying 3 square meals a day? While our boys on the ground lack the basic gear they need to resist the occupiers?
Are we still living a life of luxury and comfort, while our brave restoration forces lack medical supplies at the home front?
Are we still throwing big birthday bashes while our restoration forces lack basic communication equipment to maximize their efforts?
Are we still going on cruises and expensive vacations while our IDFs on the ground go without food and logistics?
Are we still finding excuses not to make the necessary sacrifices and drafting big while our restoration forces lack the game-changing equipment that they so desperately need to bleed the enemy?
On a daily basis, how much are we putting aside for our liberation, knowing that only through the fierce resistance are we going to liberate our beloved country?
Are we providing the federal government and the CIC the means to carry out some of the critical intelligence and other special operations across the national territory?
As we ponder these questions, we must remember that a goal that is not funded is nothing but a wish. And we must not let Amberzonia die as a wish, because we failed to fulfill our patriotic duties by making the great sacrifices befitting a great people.
The World Draft once more is coming to your county. Stand up and be counted. No greater victory was ever achieved than by greater sacrifices. We are enough, so let's draft, and draft until we drop. Our existence as a people depend on that.
It is Award 22. Let us draft until we drop.
The French Empire was one of the most powerful in human history. At its height, it controlled almost 10% of the world's land area. From Southeast Asia to West Africa, the country we today associate with baguettes and cinema was a dominant global power. And that was particularly true in Africa. France oversaw territory spanning 17 modern-day nations, from Morocco to the Congo. Under the banner of a civilizing mission, France oversaw brutal occupations that engorged the wealth of the empire and left a terrible legacy for ordinary Africans, marked by slavery, extraction, and murder. And today, France's empire in Africa is still around, in a streamlined, more profitable, and even more exploitative form. Let me explain. In the aftermath of the Second World War, there was a wave of decolonial movements sweeping across Africa and Asia. And the French, humiliated by their defeat and occupation at the hands of the Nazis, were eager to maintain their empire. So they responded to revolts in Algeria, Indochina, and Madagascar with brutal reprisals. Maintaining foreign holdings became increasingly difficult. By 1960, France was forced to grant independence to almost all its colonies. But something really important happened in Africa. Basically, the leadership of France decided to keep their empire in Western and Central Africa intact in everything but name. The plan was simple. When an African country gained its independence, it was made to sign a so-called cooperation agreement with France, which would outline the nature of their relations moving forward. In exchange for French foreign aid, African countries were required to give France rights over natural resources, allow France to maintain troops in their territory indefinitely, and, most importantly, keep these countries' currencies linked to France's currency, the franc. Instead of having their own currency, they were to use the franc of the Financial Community of Africa, what is now called the CFA franc. The French framed these cooperation agreements as a choice, but they were also clear about the consequences of defiance. When the leader of Guinea, a socialist named Sékou Touré, rejected the cooperation agreement with France and declared that he preferred to be poor in freedom than rich in slavery, the French government decided to make an example of him. They cut all foreign aid to Guinea and did everything they could to destabilize the government. They launched a secret campaign to print fake Guinean banknotes and flood the country with them. One French spy later bragged, "The operation was a total success. Guinea's economy, already very weak, never fully recovered." The French said that these countries existed within the so-called French community, but the policy would come to be known more widely as France-Afrique. It was about having the former colonies in a position that was maximally advantageous to French interests. Many of the first generation of post-colonial leaders in former French colonies had essentially been installed by the French. They spoke French, had spent time in France, and were well integrated with French elites. Jacques Faucart, a French diplomat, oversaw French relations with Africa for almost 30 years and built a huge web of client relationships with African leaders, using corruption and covert operations to make them loyal subordinates. When local political orders were threatened, the French weren't afraid to protect their hand-picked dictators. Since 1960, France has invaded Africa more than 50 times. Look at the Central African country of Gabon as one example. Gabon is particularly important to France because it has a huge supply of oil and an even bigger supply of uranium. Among the African colonies, Gabon was historically one of the very closest to France. In 1967, a man named Omar Bongo became Gabon's president, soon turning the country into a one-party dictatorship. And Bongo was intimate with France. He had been appointed after flying to Paris for what was basically a job interview with the president. So under Bongo, France and Gabon enjoyed a relationship that benefited both sets of elites. Gabon's oil was pumped by the French state-owned oil company ELF, and its uranium went right into France's arsenal of nuclear weapons. In return, France subsidized Gabon's budget, especially the parts that flowed into the pockets of Omar Bongo and his family. At one point, Bongo was worth over $130 million. Gabon, meanwhile, remained poor and underdeveloped. Under Bongo, it had one of the highest infant mortality rates in the world. Instead of investing in the Gabonese economy, Bongo spent state funds on influencing French politics in his favor, bankrolling the campaigns of several future French presidents. Even today, France keeps troops in the country to support Gabon's current ruler, who happens to be Omar Bongo's son. And somehow, Gabon is actually one of the happier stories. Other countries, like the Central African Republic, are today some of the poorest in the world, in part due to the legacies of French-backed dictators like Jean Bédel Bokassa. But there's another aspect of French influence that's even more important. Probably the most central part of all is the CFA franc, the last colonial currency still in widespread use. In practice, the countries that use the CFA franc have virtually no monetary sovereignty. The value of their currency is linked to the euro. The poorest countries in the world have a currency controlled by the richest countries. And so the imperatives of European countries, fiscal discipline and fighting inflation, end up shaping the very different world of Western and Central Africa. That leads to an overly tight approach to credit, something that's necessary in our current system for an economy to grow. It means that any appreciation in the euro makes exports from these countries less price competitive. So just look at what happened in Senegal.
Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, fellow Ambazonians across the world. Patriotic salute to you all and those who are watching us on all the social media platform, on our website and on the satellite. Greetings to you all. Today, Dr. Mungwa isn't here, our Secretary of State for Communication and IT. So I am just jumping in as Press Secretary to answer your questions. Let's talk about Zonia. Let's talk what we need to do to move on, how we need to participate, especially in the draft, and why it is more than important and necessary that every Ambazonia, every patriotic Ambazonia is involved in the draft at this point in time. So yes, I am here this evening and welcome all of you. Thanks for joining. Keep sharing as you join, share as you join. The WhatsApp number is going to be on screen where you will have to call and ask your question, mostly, and make your contribution if necessary. So this evening, and you've just watched a video, I would also like to have a brief discussion about the video that was playing just before I came up, regarding French influence in Africa. And we all know they are the main sponsors of La République, in keeping us in bondage, in colonizing um, Ambazonians and torturing Ambazonians for all these 60 years. So we will also dig into that. So, but I'm so looking forward to all your questions. And I know it's been a while. I haven't been here on ABC, but due to some personal reasons, but I'm back now, and let's kick on the Ambazonian spirit, the freedom that is in us. And I also want to greet our Ambazonian sympathizers that are watching us across the world. Greetings to you all, and continue to support our liberation movement, because Ambazonia is here to stay. And the killing of one of our generals or field marshal is not going to deter us from the goal. Our goal is the liberation and complete and total liberation of Ambazonia, formerly known as Southern Cameroons. So thank you all once again for joining, and continue to share as you join us. So I would also, like to thank all our restoration fighters and appreciate them for their resilience, for their determination, for showing exceptional patriotism, for showing exceptional confidence and courage and belief in our freedom, for not giving up, for continuing to put up and telling La République the enemy, and all those with the enemy characteristics, that our focus is independence. Our focus is the liberation of Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. I always like to use the word liberation to independence, because we can be independent and not be liberated. But we are fighting for total liberation of British Southern Cameroons, known as Ambazonia. So, fellow Amazonians, fellow sympathizer of our freedom course, you are welcome once again to this program. So you can start asking your question while I will be talking on various issues and affairs that are happening within the struggle at the moment. And just to start, and on the video that was just playing before I came on, and we all know and aware that France is behind a lot of atrocities in Africa. This since the 60s, when African countries were gaining independence, the French colonies have been and are currently the worst economically, socially, politically in Africa. And currently, Ambazonia is suffering as a result of their scheming and wicked um, actions in Africa. And recently, we've heard rumors. I have not seen any official communication of Macron going to La République. And that can mean so many different things for Ambazonia. It can mean that they are going to face their La République internal issues because they currently have succession issue for their leader. It could also mean that they have, you know, pressure from the international community to ensure that there is peace in that region. So, but that shouldn't be our concern as Ambazonians. As much as we want to be aware and pay attention and watch every step of La République and their sponsors, France, we also want to get our priorities right. We also want to be focused on what will grant us our independence. We want to put our energy, we want to manage our energy levels, our focus. And at this point in time, there is no other more important thing for any Southern Cameroons Ambazonians to do than to draft. I cannot emphasize the importance of this drafting. And for me to dig into draft and remind us for what we already know about how much life it brings into the struggle, how it has been the only sustaining strategy that has worked over 4 years now. I think it's the fourth year of draft. Before I get into that, if you listen to the president speak during the Mezam draft, I mean, if you have not listened to that, you are missing out on wisdom or on the information that would revitalize your fighting spirit, that will revitalize your revolutionary spirit for Ambazonia. Go and listen to it. We've played it on ABC several times since Saturday. The one striking thing he said about the restoration fighters regard and unity. He said he has done everything possible to unite and create a united structure, especially for our restoration fighters. And this is me paraphrasing. And he also said that he was only trying to do this to prevent our fighters being exposed to the enemy and to internal threats. And we have seen the recent incident of the death of Fimasha, which he gave a heartwarming tribute to through a poem that he wrote, the Le Français. Ambazonians, the interim government under the leadership of President Samuel Sako Ikome have remained focused, have remained resolute, have continued despite internal and external challenges and enemies beyond our expectations, have kept moving and kept telling us that Ambazonia is bigger. The liberation of Ambazonia is bigger than anybody, than any individual. So if you call yourself an Ambazonian and you see survival of this our liberation struggle aside the interim government, then tell me why the formation of many other groups till date have not succeeded to do better, to bring any results that best suits our people, that favor our liberation cause. Fellow Amazonians, it is up to us to win this war. It has already been given to us. The keys to our freedom is in our hands. The keys to our liberation is in our hands. We have seen distractions and attacks from unlikely places. But that should tell us that if the interim government wasn't fruitful, nobody will be trying to pluck fruit from it. No one will be throwing stones at it. If the interim government was not the life, the oxygen of this liberation movement at this point in time, nobody will be doing everything to destroy it. And for you, our true patriots who have understood this reality and are doing everything within your ability to see that as a people, we restore our independence through our commitment and our continuous contribution. Like I was saying, we have also seen President Samuel Komisako being attacked by people he has fed. And I will go out of character a little bit. And I will say, the death, if at all, of FMA is a message to all of us. We need to learn from events as heartbreaking as this, because Ambazonia is here and is here to stay. There is nothing the enemy within or without can do about that. Let's get that part out of the way. And now, how do we restore this reality? And how do we continue to ensure that the enemy does not have its way after slaughtering almost 50,000 Ambazonians in cold blood, with no regard for our lives and dignity? Is continue to play your part in your counties and LGA. There is so much responsibility within Ambazonia struggle to participate. And there's absolutely no excuse for any Southern Cameroonian Ambazonia for not participating. So, fellow Ambazonians, I also want to remind us, as I was talking about these attacks that this interim government have had and why it is the oxygen of this liberation movement. And I'm not debating this with nobody. We all know that people we have trusted, depended upon, believed in their abilities, believed in their freedom spirit, have shown us different sides that resembles the enemy. And anything in my book that resembles the enemy should be treated like and as the enemy. Because, and I will give this quote by one of our comrades, that kill the enemy at night and mourn a brother in the morning. That means if your brother come as an enemy at night, deal with that enemy. And if it turns out in the morning that enemy was your brother, mourn the brother then. And that's the spirit our restoration forces should have. And they should be very, very careful at all times who they accept around them. But this is not a time for me to talk about how the restoration fighters can maintain a security strategy that will preserve their life. And the DSS and the counties are handling all of that. But I want to talk to all of those watching. And just before I continue, you can call and ask your questions um, now, and the technicians will put the number there, and you can start calling and ask your question about the interim government, what they are doing, and what anything about the struggle that you are not sure of, any information that you are not clear about, anything that is happening that you are unsure of, or if you have any information that you think will be useful to pass to the people of Ambazonia, you can also bring forward that information. So we will continue. I'll continue with this presentation, and then I'll be expecting your calls. So start bringing your calls, start calling in with your questions, and because I'm just here to take some of your questions. Because Amazonia, we have to share ideas, rub our minds, discuss, and there is so much happening at this point in time where we want to maintain focus. We have to remain resolute and determined. We don't want to be tossed around by any wind of information that does not align with our purpose for this liberation course. So we have to make sure we are selective in what we give our attention to. We have make sure we pick and choose what we put our mind into, because this our liberation movement is only one outcome, and that's for a win. And we cannot put our energy and mind into things that doesn't enhance our fighting spirit, revitalize our revolutionary resolve. So that's why I'm here today. So we discuss what the interim government is doing and how it's taking us forward, and how you Ambazonians watching, Ambazonians in your counties, in your LGA, and those who wants to know more, those who doesn't know how, for example, how to be part of their LGA, how to be part of their county, you can also call, and those information are available. So keep your calls coming in. I am already ready to expect your calls. So I will carry on from what I was saying. Dear Amazonians, we have seen and we have heard and we have experienced. And now it's time for us to behave like we understand what is going on, like we learn, like we have learned from all the activities and occurrences in past 6 years. We are at the fourth, I think the fourth year of draft now. Award 22 is just started, was launched on the 4th of June. And that's one day, I'll always remember. And it was a great success. Mezam County came with a ray of light on a day Amazonians were confused, were asking questions. What happened? What didn't happen? But Mezam people showed up. They showed up in the Ambazonian spirit, and they told us that we are focused on this liberation. They set a standard. They continue to inspire every Ambazonian that we are not going to just talk Ambazonia into being. We have to take responsibility, take action, do something every single day. And we will continue in that same energy. We will continue in that same light to show the enemy and the international community, or the powers that be, that Amazonians are not distracted, that Amazonians are focused. The turnout and the participation of the Mezam draft was a loud and clear message to our detractors and enemies within and without, that the spirit of Amazonia lives forever. And the killing of one Amazonia Ambazonian will not deter us, because we have suffered for 60 years. We have begged, we pleaded in all ways and shape, and we have known that our only solution is the total liberation of Ambazonia. And that is why we are here, and that's why we must continue to do everything in our capacity to see that Ambazonia is free and Ambazonia is restored to his original independent state. Okay, I think we have a call. We have a caller on the line. Hang on, let me connect you. And all right, can you hear me and speak?
Yes, Lady Casey, I can hear you.
All right, thank you very much. You can carry on.
Yeah, so I want to thank you for coming up to educate our people, and to also remind Ambazonians that they have to be very vigilant. There is a lot of literature going outside there for people who they have decided to sell Ambazonia to La Republique. A case in story is we have one audio from Dr. Maggie Kilo, and another excerpt from Professor Carson Anyangwe. He is telling fighters that they should not listen to any government, and that listening to a government like interim government, it means that they are politicizing the movement. Carson Anyangwe once formed a government, Ambazonian government. He came to the United States and he was paraded like the president of the government. Why is he refusing an Ambazonian government today? Is it because he is not in charge? The same Professor Carson Anyangwe, if a government was a wrong idea, he could not have taken a position with a Yukta-based government. He took a Secretary of Foreign Affairs and he did not do anything. Now he is campaigning that fighters and the home front people should not listen to interim government, and that he is going out to be raising funds for the war relief program. War relief program is something that comes after the war. It is not during the war. So their war relief program is the same thing like La Republique reconstruction. So
Absolutely.
our people should be very vigilant. It is not everyone you listen to. It is not everything that people say that you believe in them. What you need to really judge them with is their actions. Any person knows that we have restored Ambazonia. We restored a government, a country, and all the boundaries. So you cannot claim that you restore Ambazonia and then you say the issue of an Ambazonian government is a wrong idea. There is no way in this world that a group of Anglophones will go and meet La Republique and they discuss with La Republique, and La Republique will give them independence. No, we have to meet them like a country, meet them as a people whatsoever. Professor Carson Anyangwe said he has been in the struggle for about 40 years, and the rest they said 32 years. Why are we still fighting today if they could do the right thing? So it's only a dull person that can repeat a class for 40 years. A smart person, like what the interim government is doing today, is just 4 to 5 years we are going. Let people not be complaining that, oh, who is supporting us? It is Americans themselves, they fought for 7 years. Ambazonian government is here to stay, and Ambazonian nation is here to stay. And for all the restoration forces back home, there is an audio circulating where one ADF guy is thanking Reverend Asson and Chris Anu that they have been trying to talk to Field Marshal to no avail. It is thanks to Reverend Asson and Chris Anu who came and brought Field Marshal on the 10th of July 2022 for unity like Unity Warriors. And we have lost so many fighters in the name of the so-called Unity Warriors. Reverend Asson went and even disarmed Faku. They claimed that they had 19 barracks in Faku. Where are the 19 barracks fighting? So if you are on ground, for home front, and you are a fighter, and if you like your life, stop any communication with Reverend Ason, with Marianta, with Abongwa, with Chris Anu and the rest. That is exactly this thing. Let me give you an example. If you are a fighter and you say, oh, these are the most trusted persons, ask Chris Anu, who did he give our 135,000 US dollars to? Ask Chris Anu, why is he refusing to show the names or the faces of those who killed Field Marshal? Because the same people might still be coming against you, the restoration forces. So these are some of these things our people should know. We have people on front. They cannot even carry their Android phone and go outside because they are afraid that the public is going to arrest them. But they come and lie you people that the CDC manager is paying Dr. Sako 30 million. Then why is it that La Republic has not arrested him? So our people should not make a fool of themselves. We are no longer Anglophones. We are the never again generation. That we need to really think what people are saying. Yes, action is better. Okay, the other day they were raising money. We raised about 251,000 US dollars. How much did they raise? 35 years or 40 years signing asylum papers to foreigners. Are they feeding the prisoners? Are they feeding the homeless people? They only go about kidnapping people and all this kind of stuff. So let these activists, corrupt activists, sell out all these people. They come out and talk and explain to Amazonia people what happened to Field Marshal. How much money did they sell Field Marshal? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Before I comment on that, I would like to welcome Tapa the King. I mean, Ambazonians, you know him as a director of programs for ABC, Amba TV, and graphic design. All the beautiful graphics you see on ABC and our modernized, customized logo. Honestly, is creativity that he has commit to Ambazonia as a young man is commendable, and this is example that every Ambazonian should follow, and not seeking to overthrow the president because he thinks he can create um, graphics and makes things happen effortlessly. Thank you for your commitment and dedication to Ambazonia and to the interim government. Fellow Ambazonians, I would just quickly make a comment to what UN just said, and then I would invite Paddy to speak.
Yeah, just a moment, Lady Casey. Thank you very much. I think I'm having a caller here. I believe maybe this
Okay.
caller wants to talk, and I didn't connect the mic. I hope, caller, you'll be able to speak loud. I'll try to exaggerate the volume so that Amazonians can hear. This call is coming in from the home front. I'm just
Okay.
coming in. I want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to be a part of this program. UN just laid down the foundation of what I would most probably be talking about. Yes, caller, you're live on ABC Amber TV. Perhaps you just want to just share your mind. We're listening to you, and I'm increasing the volume. Yes, just go right ahead, please. If you can hear me, just react. I'm also following the comment sections. I would like to know if the volume is up from this caller from the home front, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Let's go right ahead.
Thank you very much. Yes. Are you hearing me now? Are you
The
hearing me?
volume is not very clear. It's quite low.
Are you
Okay.
hearing me?
Is the volume okay now?
No, I'm getting
A bit better.
Okay. Yeah, go right ahead. I think the people can hear you. Go right ahead, please.
I can go ahead now, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm just calling from home front to let the people know who are disturbing the death or increasing the death of people here on home front. I want to make it clear, especially those that have been on payroll, like Dr. Cameroon, or like Boo Herbert, who like Akoro, Kashina
very careful and changing because people are really suffering. Either they are out or they are in. These are two things. Either they are out or they are in. They should stop creating confusion. We are very annoyed here and move on. Cannot keep on doing things that people are dying all over the home front. And what is all this? You want to talk about Mali country and Yangwe? I'm very sure that the Mali could be doing that. They didn't have Magi kill. Does he know what killed the father? Does he know how the father died? They can go around and do it like that. Either they toe the line of those who are fighting for the liberation of the people, or they are out of the line. They should stop all that and they should stop the people to be dying all along their own front. But very angry. It's not correct. What is all this? Now nobody can't they have the respect to Kojitinka, who is silent and quiet? Can he catch and they will not be quiet and silent? He's been fighting for over 40 years. People have been suffering from the date he took that approved the African Court of Human Rights and in the Bantu. Have you ever followed up what happened with the ruling? They didn't follow up what has happened with the ruling and follow it up complaining and to stop what is disturbing the people. They didn't follow up the ruling of Bantu and give us what are the people that the ruling was. The ruling was in favor of Sani Kabo. What has she done all the time that they are not respecting all what was written in that ruling for the sake of the Sani Kabo? And Yahweh has to be very careful. And to be very fair and very serious. They didn't follow up the rulings of Bantu and stop disturbing places. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lady Casey. With your permission, perhaps I should take that landing. I hope my sound is not too much now. It's saturated since I increased the one for the call. Is it okay?
You can just drop it a little bit.
Yes, is it okay now?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay, thank you. I think I know what the problem was. So, fellow Ambazonians, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and Lady Casey, once again, thank you for having me with your program, State of the Liberation Movement. I just want to maybe just say this as a press secretary. A lot of people are surprised why perhaps you're here now. Yes, the press secretary communicates also for the government in the capacity of communication, and what she says is as well policy because she gets it from the president's office and brings it to the public. So I don't know if it is a point of correction, but I would say maybe just an addition of the way she presented me. I'm not the director of the TV, neither am I the director of
I said
programs.
programs.
Yeah, no, I'm not even the director of programs. I am actually the director of the news, and it is not a Tapari King's job. It is a collective job. We have a lot of people that are making what you see out there what it is. For instance, you have Kemi Ashu. We have all the activists. I'm talking about pro IG activists. Your content makes the work easy for us. Your perspective is the perspective of undaunted. Undaunted means we are not afraid of anything. We say it as it is. We're telling our own stories the way it's supposed to be. Now let's get into the subject of today. Anyangwe's behavior is a disgrace. It's a huge disgrace. And I like what the UN Ochiba said. He said they have been fighting for 40 years. If actually they knew they had the magic one, then why are we fighting? They fought and wasted their generation. Some planted themselves and they have transferred a battle into our time. And today, we are the ones dying. They're not dying. Anyangwe has got to explain to us his relationship with Cameroon. What was the deal they had with the Cameroon government? And Sisiko is their victim. Now, I'll tell you people straightforwardly what he is trying to do. The point is, he knows that Dr. Sako is resilient, is at least 100% wanting us to have a total freedom. And that's what Yaoundé doesn't want. Yaoundé wants to negotiate with Ayuk Tabe. Now, regrettably, Anyangwe and Milan are still supposed to, we have not forgotten, they have to tell Ambazonia what they did and how Sisiko was picked up in Naira Hotel. The chaos they're trying to create today is simply because they are looking for a way a window how they will destroy the liberation movement, and they will have Cameroon to come and achieve what they are unable to do. Anyangwe, as a lecturer, I'm using his book, Secrets of a Faith Decolonization, as part of my research. It's disgraceful that what he would talk about is contravening to our quest for freedom. It's disgraceful. That is the evil side of politics that I'm particularly not a part of. The evil side of politics that focuses on self-interest, political interest than the people. Real politics is about the people. This is the people's movement. The people of the now have chosen that we have to be free and we must be free. And now, if the people have chosen an interim government, why do you want to change it? Because it's not just because Anyangwe does not understand that interim government is a way forward. I want to tell you how he has contradicted himself. He did whatever they did in Zaire, lectured to Ambazonians that is a way forward for an interim government, perhaps because he had a control, perhaps because they wanted to deal with Cameroon and they thought that Cameroon could pay higher if they take that step. Contrary to what the other mistaken individuals like the Joe Ayaba and the Akwangas, who studied every other thing about every other revolution or every struggle and studied nothing about Ambazonia, didn't know a strategy like the Amba Peace Plan that is beating Cameroon. Cameroon is doing everything at this time to distract us, using the disappearance of Field Marshal of the BLM as a tool to distract us because they have been doing everything to stop the draft. They have used Arno. Unfortunately, he can't stop stakeholders. I've said there's a difference between stakeholders and noisemakers. I hope I'm not trying to talk too much, but then I'm seriously vexed with the behavior of those who are supposed to be mentors, who are supposed to be guiding the youth, trying to dishonestly distract us from a righteous cause. Lady Katie, please speak.
Thank you very much. You just landed on exactly the point I need to pick up on. Vexed for me is an understatement to this. I don't know what to describe them. I will just keep it civil as an English way, because they have failed in so many ways. They have disappointed Ambazonians in so many dimensions, in their character, contradicting themselves, flip-flopping about our restoration, our independence, and the furtherance of our liberation. These kind of people, I don't sometimes want to glorify them by, saying they should be mentors. Ah, goodness, no. I don't wish such a mentor who has failed in so many different ways. As far as Ambazonia is concerned, my mentors are those who are aligned and their conviction for Ambazonia is unshakable. So for those, for the professor, whoever, who chose this point in time, and there have been many of them, and with that same tone or that same sound, making such reckless utterances, such dishonest and totally wicked um communication against our liberation struggle, attacking the interim government, trying to play down the influence and power of the interim government, just to justify, just to say, because this whole thing has nothing to do, like Paddy said, about the people. This is for their interest. Because all of them, all of them against the interim government, let's start, where should I name it, have failed woefully to bring any strategy, any contribution that has moved Ambazonia forward. Like Paddy mentioned, the peace plan, the war draft, that has been the oxygen, the financial engine of this struggle. And they have attacked it. And it can only be, that's why I was focusing on kill the enemy at night, mourn the brother in the morning. Because if you come with me with an enemy characteristics, I don't care which cloth you are wearing. You can wear the cloth of Jesus. You can put that of my mother. And you can put whoever. So long as you come with the enemy characteristics, against Ambazonia liberation, you should be dealt with accordingly, and you will be dealt with accordingly. Then we will mourn you in the morning. And that is the attitude every patriotic Amazonian should have. You see some people saying, oh, I don't want all these divisive, all these comments I see some slandered people make. This is not time for us to be sitting on the fence, be sugarcoating what we think or don't think. This is not the time for us to look at the struggle and look at certain individuals who have demonstrated consistently over the years who they are, what they stand for, what they believe, who they support, who they are against, and now becoming to say that, oh, we shouldn't say XYZ about or against them.
Yeah,
You see,
Go ahead.
you have a call.
No, go right ahead. Go ahead. I just
Okay,
wanted to.
yeah.
Let's go ahead.
Okay. So like I was saying, the enemy in any shape or form should be addressed. And our restoration fighters on the home front, we cannot say this enough. UN has put it in the most simplistic form ever. And those who are in communication with our restoration fighters should continuously remind them that the security situation on home front at this point in time is polarized. Um, it's polarized. Hello, caller. I will put you on the line in a few minutes. Let me just round up my point. And you should be very careful. Anybody joining now, anyone who have left and come back should not know how you do things. But fellow Amazonians, all these people who have failed, who are determined to destroy this interim government, they are never and they are not doing it for your interest, for the interest of Amazonia. They are doing it to show that since they have failed for 40, 30 years, or how many years they've participated in the or claim to be participating for the struggle, they want to show that everybody else has failed. The success of President Samuel Sako Ikome and the interim government is choking them. And at this point in time, I would say that that's why I was telling you that the Mason County come to tell every Amazonian that we have not started. We are just warming up to begin, because this interim government will keep rising and keep moving forward and keep taking Amazonia to the higher heights.
You see,
Buddy, before I just come over to you, I have a caller on the line.
Okay, yeah, caller, go. Let's get the call.
Okay, let me connect the caller and then I will get to you. Hello, Pastor Commando, you're welcome.
Hello. Yeah. Greetings, Lady Casey. I'm really, really happy seeing you come on ABC to tell us the state of the liberation movement. Are you getting me?
Yes, I'm getting you 100%. Carry on.
Okay, good. Thank you very much for coming home. We have discovered that La Republic has failed in so many ways and has actually used some of our people, whom we used to call them our people, to bring in a lot of distraction. I'm so shocked to hear what Prof. Anyangwe is saying. Yes, I'm so shocked to hear what Prof. Anyangwe is saying, and I want to call it intellectual dishonesty, because many of the people have who have actually sold themselves over to La Republique, possibly knowingly, are really playing the games of that nation. But I just want to conclude what you have just said, that whether they do whatever they are doing, Ambazonia is moving forward and we are moving forward. There is no distraction now. We have come a long way not to listen to their distractions and their rhetorics. Yes, he says he has been in this thing for 40 years and that nobody should answer to his Mr. President or His Excellency. That is pure dishonesty and wickedness, and I call it jealousy of the highest order.
Absolutely.
Because he did not have the opportunity to call His Excellency and whatever. He jumped out. Now, let these people tell us the truth. What is their business? Do you want the Ambazonian people to behave like sheep without a shepherd? You want to contribute money and send to who to fight who? And who is taking care of that? This is still dishonesty. And so we should just correct our people back home and let them understand the rhetoric and the lies and the games of La Republic, and let's push ahead. The interim government is focused, and we are focused, and we are going to Boya. So all distractions, we just need to come and debunk them and then move ahead. Thank you very much for coming up. I may be coming in when there is necessary or when there is need any longer. That's what I just wanted to point out, because his language is very destructive. Like Padi has just mentioned, there are some of them who are counting 32 years, 37 years, and 40 years. He said it's 40 years. What have you done in 40 years?
Total
This
failures.
is Dr. Sako in just 4 years. 4, not 5, 4 years. 2018 to 2022 is 4 years. And the story is going all over the place. He's 40 years. I beg, let's go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Paddy, over to you.
You see, I would want to just cue in from there again to handle on this evil practice of Professor Carson Anyangwe. It's pathetic, it's dishonest, it is witchcraft. His argument is that communicating to a government is making the liberation movement political. The very act of convincing volunteers, self-defense volunteers, to change what they believe in is not only political, but it is the politics of cynicism. It is evil politics, bad politics, dirty politics. And it is even in contravention to the very argument that Carson Anyangwe has been able to place in different places. He has argued in many offices. He has sent out petitions. And what is he talking about? In part of his petitions, I've read a lot of them, he is claiming that we had a government. We're a people, we're a nation, we're a state. So what is his concept of a state? In which of the liberation? Is it in East Timor? Is it in Southern Sudan? What are you talking about, sir? It's unfortunate. Is this what you're going to teach us in class? That's bad. That's evil. The only description about this is not you are conscious of the technicalities and the instrumental or the strategic importance of the interim government in our liberation movement. But you have chosen to present another rhetoric to people that might not be as learned. Unfortunately, not this generation. Thank God we have taken out the pains and the patience to discover for ourselves, not just in your documents, what our history is. And now that we know it, you cannot remove it from our mind. I want to agree with Mr. Arnold that the concept of Ambazonia is an idea. You can kill one, you can kill two, you will not kill the idea. And is it just an idea? I don't think so. It is legality. We have a historical and a legal bearing. On the 21st of April, 1961, the United Nations General Assembly voted for our independence. We must invoke at every count Resolution 1608 XP. You've got to explain that to us. Are this resolution legally binding? Why is Cameroon invading our national territory? The Republic of Cameroon has their international boundary. They had their independence on the 1st of January 1960. Almost a year, more than a year before us, close to 2 years before we had our independence. How on earth, what literature will you explain Professor Carson Anyangwe? I'm almost finding it difficult to put the professor. But by every right, Professor Carson,
let me just...
what is the justification of your argument? It's a waste of time to even talk about this. Thank you, Lady Casey.
Thank you very much. And it was just jumping in just to say that whatever the statement he made is absolutely of non-event. I mean, it's not today. We have seen them all, and that's why I was classifying all of them, because I cannot just single out Professor Anyangwe. He's just the latest I'll say, evil manifestation of recent times against the interim government. Um, everybody wants to use the interim government of President Samuel Sako to shine, to trend. And we have given him enough attention at this point in time. I think we need to move on with this conversation because we know where that will end. We know they have no good intention for the people. Because somebody like him who has formed an interim government, who have been part of an Amazonian governmental structures for his failed 40 years, and no particular strategy and actions. And he doesn't want some of us to go into details of all his betraying activities, all the betraying activities he has done against our liberation movement for that his fourth acclaimed 40 years that he has been. So that is none of my concern at this point in time. For now, we know the history, we know the legalities, we know the righteousness of our cause, we understand the morality, the moral grounds in which our liberation stands on, and in any dimensions, you look at it from a human, spiritual, non-spiritual, anyhow perspective, Amazonia is sure and is sure to stay. So I'm going on with this conversation. I would like us
Yeah.
to, look at the current events of things. We've had all these distractions. We've had La Republique parading, you know, trying to mock Ambazonians that they have gotten one of us. They have gotten our dear one of us. And the reaction, the response that Amazonians responded, in the Mesan draft is what I want to focus my energy on, because that's what gives me the belief that keeps my belief in Amazonia alive. That's why I call it the draft is the current oxygen of our liberation struggle. And the interim government who manages this draft for the fourth year now has proven time and time again, despite the attack from the one when it was first launched, it has been attacked by all those who claim to be Amazonians, but yet they have not raised anything near what has been raised for Amazonia. And that's what used to baffle me, Paddy. When I think about all these people who are attacking ideas, who are attacking strategies and stratagems that the interim government is putting in place to ensure sustainability and continuity of our liberation struggle. When these people attack it, and some Amazonians think they are still for this struggle, that's the part I don't understand. Yet they are not doing anything better. They are not coming with any better strategy. They are not giving us any better results. They are not giving us any better outcome. They are not coming with any better form or way for us to prosecute this war. And yet they continuously attack, make themselves remain relevant by trying to oppose or attack and trying to play down or wipe out the gains that the interim government is making. The interim government would have done so much. The impact would have been felt so hard by the enemy. But if not of these jealous and wicked people, I call them people from Southern Cameroon descent, because you cannot be an Amazonian and you behave like that. I just describe them as individuals or people or group of people from Southern Cameroon's descent who have put themselves in an enemy character and continuously distract us. So now we are here with the interim government who have just survived the I'll call it the most ridiculous coup plot of in history, and the interim government has come out stronger, and we are moving forward with our draft. We are moving on with our plans and strategy to refocus and re-strategize and re-motivate and re-energize our restoration fighters at up front, and create that discipline, that structure that will ensure that there is continuity and there is sustainability. That is not about an individual, it's not about a person, it's about the people's interim government. It's about the people and their interim government. And we are at that place. So all the schemes and devices of this jealous and wicked and failed individuals and group of people should not distract us and should not take our time trying to justify or doubt. We all know, and any Amazonian with good um head on their neck understands by now who and what is for the liberation of Ambazonia. It is very clear because anything that is showing us the characteristics of La Republique, anything that is helping La Republique celebrate, anything that is helping La Republique still hold their claim on us, anybody and any that is doing anything that is not putting the enemy at bay is obviously part of the enemy entity. And these fellow Amazonians, the interim government is here and is here to address and deal with every form of enemy entity, all kinds in every manner in which they come. And they've survived this long. And the president, in his address, mentioned all these powerful individuals and people who have been, like he mentioned, that who have been doing the heavy lifting of this revolution with him. And we should continue. It is not the time to relent as we are marching on into Manu draft this weekend. I would like us to remind ourselves of why this civic duty is a must for everyone who calls themselves Ambazonian, not all those from Southern Cameroon's descent who have decided to side with the enemy or put on the enemy gown. Paddy, over to you.
Thank you, Lady Casey. Yes, the draft is a statement. It is not just a political statement. Nobody's going to shut our mouth. Nobody's going to ask us to put out. Nobody's going to let us put that out from our mouth. That politics or whatever. Nobody's going to emotionally blackmail us because, like I said, the draft is a statement, is a political statement. As we draft big from every county, we are telling the international community that we are making things happen. As we draft, like right now, as we are speaking, stakeholders in Manu are grouping themselves together, strategizing to draft big and to draft really big for Saturday. So it's a statement that nobody will emotionally blackmail us to stop doing. It's a statement that we will make and we will make and we will make forever. I want to comment on something you said earlier on and to say that why it is directly linked to the draft. It was a calculated act to take us away from focusing to demoralized. If you heard with Undaunted today, one lady, we feature her video. I think she's bold enough, even though her comment is weak as far as our liberation movement is concerned, said something. Why do you parade a corpse around what you so-called Anglophone? Is it in a way of blackmailing the people or intimidating the people, making them to be afraid? You see, Cameroon always uses failed strategies all the time. Failed things. They just want to do things that cannot work. Things that don't work, that will not work, that can never work. And if they are thinking that parading a corpse, whoever is that corpse, is going to stop our restoration forces from taking responsibility, they're wasting their time. We have seen babies fried in palm oil, in hot red palm oil, and it didn't stop us. We have seen grandmothers roasted like chicken in their own houses, from Mami Api to today. We have seen close to 500 villages burnt down. It has not stopped us. We have seen baby Tato, her skull blown in the sky. It has not stopped us. So what makes them think for even 1 minute that even as we are right now, parading whatever you carried will stop us? Tomorrow, I will be live. Tomorrow, I think by 8:30 Amber time. Perhaps we can start early. And I hope to have some people with me. Most probably some defense officials. It's going to be in 2 segments. And I also hope to have UN and War Child. The discussion from a great instruction. One would expect that during a time like this that we are drafting, we should just perhaps send a condolence to a family that probably has lost a loved one. But when people politicize a struggle for their personal interest, politicize the death of a person for evil agenda. The interim government has got a duty from instructions from the office of the president. We are going to give you some information. The question is, who killed Field Marshal the King of Libya? What happened? How did it happen? The truth of it has been uncovered. And be rest assured, tomorrow you will be shocked with some of the details you will get. That we, as a government, has chosen to stay quiet doesn't mean we are ignorant. Saturday come is manual draft. The way we're going to tell them that whatever they are planning to do is a waste of interest would be for us to draft and to draft like the advert until we dropped. Escalate your draft. Make sure that you have a plan to draft for any county. Every county. Make sure that you are drafting for every county. You see, we have information that Macron is coming to Yaoundé. But purportedly, there's a program I hear is fake. Whatever it is fake, Macron is visiting the French province. That's France, because La République du Cameroon is a province in France. And we hear that the agenda from the newspaper I just saw this morning is to talk about Paris is talk about the crisis in Cameroon, the war in Amazonia. How dare you think that you're going to continuously talk about us without us? It's like the national dialogue. It's going to be a waste of time. That you have a special guest, Macron, makes no difference. And on that day, I'm expecting that the defense department will do something to welcome Macron into the Cameroons. We can't just stay quiet. And whatever discussion Yaoundé is thinking that they're going to have in the absence of the president of the Federal Republic of Amazonia, if they will ignore the Swiss-led process to do clandestine talks, for whatever reason, it's a waste of time. If you want to consult what is happening on the ground, consult the stakeholders, the field workers. The Amber Peace Plan has created a structure of field workers. We understand what is happening on the ground, and nothing can be enhanced or stopped on the ground without us making a determination. Thank you. And
Thank you very much, Fadi. Yeah, you have, summarized everything that is in the current state of the struggle. You have put it all in a very simple terms. And excuse me. And I'll just add to this that the reason why we must continuously draft cannot be overemphasized. Every Amazonian who have been drafting, thank you. As we prepare ourselves for the manual draft and all the La Republique plans and strategy to distract us, especially using our people, using people who cannot accept the successes, who are struggling to deal with the fact that President Samuel Sako has outdo them on all levels, even as an individual, even as a person, they cannot compare. Instead of them taking all the initiative, utilizing, he has brought, how many times do we remind Amazonians? This interim government headed by President Sako has done everything for unity and for collaboration. Everything's possible, has sponsored all kinds of collaborative initiatives. And who were those who destroyed it? The same people who are parading around saying they should not listen to an interim government. Fellow Amazonians, the Swiss mediation would not have ever come to place if there was no interim government. It would never have happened. And that's to tell you that what? There are some ignorant, or let me say deliberate, refusal to acknowledge the protection of our liberation struggle that the interim government brings. even to these individuals who are doing all of this, the interim government is still your shield in whichever country you are in the world. We cannot come here and pretend that we don't understand how the West operates. If there was no interim government, anybody can be tagged anything and be locked up. So when I see all of you going up and down trying to destroy the interim government, it's very funny that you have made statements in public, you have posted yourself as whoever you choose to call yourself, and this interim government that is shielding you from the diplomatic leverage that La Republique had through France. And some of you think because you have had nationalities in these countries that you can do anyhow against our liberation struggle and nothing will happen to you. You lie. The interim government has continuously pushed and saved this revolution from destruction over the attacks of this wicked and jealous set of people. Because somebody must have some degree of wickedness to even see. Oh, sorry, Paddy is calling. Hello, Paddy. Okay, sorry about that interruption. I was just getting a message. So I'll just be remind us, because I'm trying to remind us Amazonians. So some things we already know, that we cannot lose focus before we round up, because your questions haven't been coming. I know it's late for home front at this point in time for them to be awake at this time. We'll ensure to come much earlier so we can get more questions from the home front. So as I prepare to round up, but I would continue the point I was making. Oh, you. Anyway, like I was saying, fellow Amazonians, the importance of the interim government cannot be stressed any longer. And the interim government have been saving this struggle from destruction, from the enemies jubilating. Because if you look at the struggle for the past 6 years, the Amazonian governmental structure has been the most attacked by the enemy. The Amazonia, we are a people of many tribes, of many ethnicities. And what has kept us together is the Amba Peace Plan under the interim government. This has kept us together and kept us focused. The enemy has tried to divide us by tribes, by regions, but the interim government has been the glue that has reminded us that we are a people, we are a nation, we have a territory, and we have a government. And our independence is what we are for. And there is nothing, the enemy cannot bring their old strategy of divide and rule and conquer us again. And this never again generation have decided that we will never again be deceived by the enemy. We will never again be conquered and defeated. That all the enemy strategy of brutality, of torture, of manipulation will not longer hold on us. So, fellow Amazonians, it is a time for you to join your counties and LGA and draft, because we cannot come this far to just come this far. We have come this far because we have the ability and the capability invested in us in this generation to liberate Amazonia for once and for all. And I'll be coming in subsequent days to address all those fence sitters, all those passive Amazonians and Southern Cameroonians. But today, I'm telling Amazonians that your interim government is here for our liberation, and we must all put our hands together to ensure that the enemy's strategy to divide us and conquer us should not work in any way, shape, or form. And but just before I come to you, I just want to mention something. And I know some of you, when you come to the media, you talk too much, you make a lot of noise for Ambazonians. One or two ministers or officials of La Republic will contact you and you think you have arrived. And when all of you refuse to learn, you think, like Paddy mentioned, that they want to have a dialogue without Ambazonians, without the Ambazonian leadership about us. The continuous disregard and disrespect is even enough reason for us never to give up. But all of you from Southern Cameroon's descent who have been contacted in one way or the other to pose as Ambazonians and work with La Republique for one Cameroon, you have already failed. You have already failed because this struggle is not for sale. It's not for myopic minds. It's not to satisfy any individual egos or any tribe's name or family name. Absolutely not. It's for Ambazonia. Let the real Ambazonian, let the true spirit of Ambazonia in us speak, act for Ambazonia at all times. Thank you. Paddy, over to you.
Yeah, Legacy, I think you're the one to give the closing remark, and I'm working based on your program. I was just trying to indicate to you that my connection was disturbing, so if you were about to close, just let me know. Thank God I've been able to
Okay.
rectify that. And just maybe just to add to that as we close in the next couple of minutes,
10 minutes.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, in just a few minutes time. I want to say that we are making progress like never before. The most focused people in the liberation war, that those are the stakeholders knowing what to do, doing it the way they have to do it. They are doing what they have to do, and it doesn't take all. We have proven beyond every reasonable doubt that we do not need noisemakers to do it. A few days ago, you had a man gathered noisemakers, a mixed multitude of federalists, unionists, uh, special statutionists in a Zoom, and there were about 500. When it came for moment for real action, they all disappeared. Today they are making him a fool and a laughter of himself. If I'm just citing that to make it as an example for you, if that could just be an example for you, then you should look at that and look at this structure that is working and smile. And forget about wannabes, forget about failed politicians, old evil men who want to distract us, who look into their eyes and look into our faces and deny the color of their skins and choose to lie to us. These are failed people. We will determine our future, not someone who has fought for 40, 30 years and has failed in everything to come and make that determination for us. Are we ignoring the work that they've laid down? No. Foncha did some work. When he understood that he made mistakes, he visited the United Nations a couple of times. Ayamba did some work. For Gojidinka didn't only do work, he used his legal mind and defined us and gave to us a name and said we cannot continue to bear the name of the colonizers. And that was logical. That is a categoric statement. If we do have a name and we have a flag and we have an anthem, then we should at least have a government. That is the simplest way that every Amazonian, the mama in the village, can understand. And Macron planning to come and talk on our behalf is an insult, like Lady Casey says. That is arrogance. That is despising us. Meaning, after 40,000 people have died, Macron still thinks they're going to employ the old strategy with Yaoundé to sit in Yaoundé to talk about us It's like you have a child that is 21 years old and you want to discuss about, oh, the child that is married, and you want to talk about how he should give birth with his wife. That is an insult. And we will respond proportionately with that arrogance. Like Weber said in 2015 or 2016, sorry. He said, even if you put the French army, it's unfortunate that Weber today is I just don't want to talk about that. Let's leave that for another day. But even if you would take the French army combined with the Zakawas from Chad and the Sangos from Bangui and all the evil Bulus in Cameroon, we will beat them in Ambazonia. You can be rest assured. Take this to the bank. We will beat them. And we're actually doing so. The Amazonian Restoration Forces, with their bare hands, started beating out Cameroon. Think about what they're going to do this year. Now that they're not only going to focus on Le Français and real popcorns, but there is a new technology, so says the Secretary of State for Self-Defense. Be rest assured, Amazonia, what you saw happen with the popcorn as the draft continues to ride in and you stakeholders redeeming your pledges, there's going to be more. You know, you can eat popcorn, then you can do crackers. Something is going to happen. Something big is on the pipeline. Something big. I look forward to having you for the show tomorrow. We're going to discuss a lot of things, a lot of things that will change your way you think. I want to tell you that we're not losing. Cameroon is trying to strategically demoralize you, blackmailing us, using our own to distract us, but we are winning. And we're winning so fatly. If they can desperately move around with a corpse of an individual, it's just to tell you that they have failed, and they have failed big time. Thank you very much, and good night. Lady Casey, over to you.
Oh, Paddy, I'll just pick up on one statement you said, that when you eat popcorn, you can also do crackers. That is just the next level of things. And that is why I will continue, and I will end and round up this show with saying that for us to move from popcorn to crackers, or to have variety of snacks to deserve La Republique, is for you to continuously draft. And as we prepare for Manu County draft this weekend, the 23rd of July, prepare yourselves, if you're not from Manu, to come and support in your numbers. Come and support Manu County. We know that Manu was the first county where self-defense was hot continuously for 2 years, non-stop. And we need to get Manu into that first place again. And this is the hour, and this is the moment to come and support Manu, to give them that ability, to enable them get to that place where the ground was hot in Manu County. The home front are ready. They have shown resilience beyond words. They have shown dedication and commitment beyond our compliments. They have proven over the years that they are ready for their independence and their restoration, and they are ready to make the sacrifices that is required. And the only way we can do that in the diaspora is to draft. And I will repeatedly say, as an Ambazonian in the diaspora, the easiest contribution, the easiest way to participate is by contributing your money. That's the easiest thing to do. If you want to know that I'm correct, be an LGA chairperson, be an executive of your county. You will know the work that it goes into it. Like Paddy said, there are a lot of people that put in work and time and skills and knowledge and energy to see that what you get on ABC is polished, smooth, and up to international standards. But to contribute your money, you can sleep in your bed and just do a transfer for 2 minutes, and that's it. So, fellow Ambazonian, there's no excuse. We no longer have an excuse. We are focused with the interim government headed by President Samuel Sako to see that we put the enemy in the place where they should be, out of Ambazonia, and we claim and restore our territory. And this will take every Southern Cameroonian on the ground, every Southern Cameroonians on home front. This is another thing that I would also like to talk about. Every Southern Cameroonian on home front, whether you know it or not, you are not regarded in the Cameroons within La République as anything. Whether you are part of the government or whether you are not, whether you are just somebody on the street thinking you're minding your business, you should never lose the consciousness of this war. You should never lose the awareness of your state as a Southern Cameroonian, because La République du Cameroon does not regard you as anything. They will use you for as long as they can use you to achieve their wicked objective, as they have been doing for the past 60 years. But you will be dumped. Ask Nambere. They don't give you anything that would change your life or your story. They don't, all these people who have received peanuts for La République, check where their life has been. Nothing. So our true hope, our real purpose, our existence at this point in time and in this generation is to directly or indirectly, given the security situation at home front, contribute and participate in this liberation war. And I want to thank our restoration fighters once again as I close. And I give my total honor to those who have gone before us, the martyrs of this our liberation struggle. That as we continue to ensure that their blood they did not shed their blood for nothing. We will continue to honor their memory. We will use that as an inspiration, as the fuel that would strengthen our spirit and mind to know that until we totally restore our independence, we will not stop. We will continue. And fellow Ambazonians that have been watching this program, thank you for watching and for sharing. And as we move forward in this struggle, remain resolute. Let all the strategies and distraction of the enemy within and without not discourage you. Ambazonia is a reality. And when something is a reality, it's tangible. It's just one more push that we need to do. And we will have to continue doing until we are restored our territory. And we have taken it out from the claws of La République and its minions. Thank you all for watching this program. And I will remind us that our sexual state for communication will be back next week, and to give you the state of the struggle and take your questions. Remain resolute, remain focused, and continue to draft and support your county and LGA in any way possible. Thank you all. God bless and good night.
Stay tuned. You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amber TV, the voice of Ambazonia. Stay tuned.
Sungina kungarma Wiri dem verduni Anini Venyendi ngara Venkuyena Sungina kungarma Emwe Wiri demyaduni Anini Venyendi ngara Venkuyena
Ask ya. See me hurting, I know if you hide the pain. I did bend my effort down cause I did shame. Wondering when the day go bright again. The streets covered up in blood, it's a fail. Devil done the use sweet, slowly it'll kill we. Mommy the looky picking way no day for hella pee. Little kids in the streets faced with tragedy, crying out for help, oh Lord, where the remedy? Bullets in the streets and the drugs them for tear. First it was the boys, right now even the girls. Where do we turn for solace, where do we go for help? Do we really sleep when we lay down in a bed? What do we tell the kids when they can't sleep at night? Because they be afraid of waiting with this in life. Nobody is safe anymore. We ain't safe anymore.
Sungina kungarma Emwe Wiri demyaduni Anini Venyendi ngara Venkuyena
You have guns so that you protect the streets, but commotion on day now because you kill Pekin. Them it's a mistake. What really is your gain? Oh, you cause with pain. A man is small picking where they carry a soul. It breaks cut up a floor, people the mash and it go. Oh, as a mom, I swear my heart is broken. I don't know who to trust again, even my spirit is broken. We run away from home because it's no longer safe. To hide out in the tears that is also not safe. They're smelling in the air like it's beast of no nation. Where is the peace in our love-filled nation? I swear what I don't dry for my eye. And as of now, man no even know step when he go die. Rest well, little babies, till we meet again. Rest well.
One thing will give me now, inside of me guy, inside of me guy, inside of guy. Whoa.
Draft and draft and draft. People of Ambazonia, draft. The number one most important thing for every Ambazonian to do right now is to draft. Draft and draft and draft. People of Ambazonia, draft.